issues that we are having here, but we're back and we are talking about the incident with the DJ in Buffalo, New York, who was comparing black women to toast. And so we talked about how he said Serena was too dark, and the co-host asked him about Gayle King, and he didn't want her either. But he said Halle Berry was good because she's got a little mulatto in her.
Yeah, Gayle King was leaving on his toaster. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
And so we were talking about how utterly disrespectful the whole incident was, and the fact that the big thing was the fact that he said that he knew he might get in trouble for saying what he said.
Mm-hmm.
So that says to me that you knew before you said it
mm-hmm.
that it was going to be a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And you went ahead and said it anyway. And you know, it's interesting to me because we're going to talk about his apology. And Halle Berry did, now that I'm aware of, Serena Williams hasn't said anything. And Gayle King, that I'm aware of, has not said anything. But Halle Berry did say she felt it was disgusting, his remarks, and that all black women are beautiful. And comparing us to toast was just a total disrespect for black women, period. And I do want to say this. I know when I first posted, I said that I felt that he not only owed black women an apology, but he specifically owed Serena Williams and Gayle King an apology.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, I did not mention that he owed Halle Berry an apology because he was saying that she was the beautiful, the acceptable one. However, he did use the term mulatto when he referred to her, and he does owe her an apology for that.
Mm-hmm.
Because though I will say this, I don't know that necessarily everyone is aware that mulatto is a disrespectful racist term. I'm not sure that everyone
In the U.S.
in the United States, right, is aware that that is a disrespectful racist term to use. Because I mean, there's a rapper that calls herself mulatto, which she's received recently. I was reading because I don't know, I don't follow rappers, I don't do rap, but she has been she's gotten backlash about her name, and at one time I think she was considering changing her name from mulatto. Whether she's done that or not, I don't know because I don't follow that. But I know that when I look into colorism things and the things that are coming up under colorism, there were people who felt that she needed to change her name.
Yeah. And
not refer to herself as mulatto.
And the problem with that is, once again, it is reinforcing that the only black women who are beautiful are those who are closer to the white standard of beauty.
Right.
And there's all of us are beautiful.
Exactly.
So we don't have to be light skinned to be beautiful. We don't have to have, the European features to be beautiful. We don't have to have the fine hair to be beautiful. We are beautiful in our own right.
That's right.
What he was saying was the standard of beauty is closer to, I can only deal with, is the European standard of beauty.
Exactly. And it goes back to I say all the time that colorism exists interracially as well as intraracially. Colorism is not just within ourselves, within the black community. And this is the point. This situation here is what really brings that home, that colorism exists also when people of other races look at us. They look at us and they decide that what's closer to white is what's beautiful. And this is not just within ourselves and within our community. When many times when white people look at black people, they're looking at us determining again that the darker we are, the less significant we are, the less beautiful we are, the less valuable we are. It doesn't just happen within our communities.
And well, it's not even just white people. It's actually Asians and other people still have that same problem. That,
Right.
you know, the darker you are, the less acceptable you are. And this goes back to previous shows that we've had about the microaggression that a lot of Black women face um, in everyday society, because that's a perfect example of one of those, almost like what they used to call hidden racism. Because
Hmm.
when I go for a job, I'm not thinking that the color of my skin has anything to do with it. It's already, I got enough pressure on me thinking I'm a Black woman. But now I have
Right.
to worry about whether I'm, as a Black woman, am I light enough? Is my hair the right texture? Is my nose the right shape?
Oh
So
yeah.
you're telling me that, so this just goes to prove that every forum that I go to, every space I go into, I'm being judged on multiple levels. And as a Black woman, that is an increased stress and an increased burden on us to not only be judged as women, not only be judged as Black women, but to be judged as what color of Black woman we are,
Exactly.
and how, what, and our type of hair, you know. So that it's just crazy the amount of pressure that's put on Black women to be a certain standard
Right.
and not meant to be.
Right. And
God,
we've got to consistently prove ourselves, and we've got to consistently, and the other thing is too that we had a little, we talked a little bit before the show about um what people say about cancel culture, and the fact that one of the things that Sharon Stone in a recent article, and I don't know whether she was specifically talking about this incident. I don't think that she was, because I think her interview was before this incident with Lederman. But she talked about people need to grow up and not be so quick to want to dismiss people and decide that people aren't who they really are because of one statement they made or anything like that. But my response to that is Black women have been canceled for centuries. Black women have been canceled. So don't come to me about cancel culture or any of that, about the fact that we are going to hold you accountable for what you say when you degrade us, when you disrespect us, and when you decide that it's okay for you to say whatever it is you want to say, knowing that it was not the right thing to say.
and
We're
and
not going to stand for it anymore. We
and
just
I
aren't.
don't, and I don't feel it's cancel culture when, like as I was saying before we got cut off. Just look at what's going on in the last 4 years.
Oh,
All the turmoil and the racial uprisings and everything that's going on in the last 4 years, and the whole push towards diversity training and making people aware that Black Lives Matter, and making people aware that what you're saying is, your words hurt, words have impact. So you mean to tell me that all this time you haven't been paying attention? You
or you
haven't
don't care,
you
or
haven't
you just don't care.
you haven't been paying attention, you don't care, and now I'm supposed to extend you even more grace because you haven't been. Everybody's having diversity training. Starbucks is having diversity training. I mean, come on. So you have had no diversity. And I think the part that really made me want to holler, okay, is that in his apology, he was going to be reaching out to Black people, the Black clergy and the
Oh
NAACP.
yeah, I'm going to read his apology.
So
I'm
read
going to
his
read.
apology, please, because it just got my gall that once again. So you never talked to any of these Black people before to find out if what you were saying was offensive. If what you to under There's been,
But
I mean, all kind of things.
no.
There's been conversations, uncomfortable conversations with a Black man. There's been colorism conversations. There's been diversity training. There's been, all kind of things going on in society, and you were never aware of any of this, but you still felt comfortable saying what you said.
Because you feel you can.
And now that it's cost you your job, now that it's cost you your money, now you want to reach out to the black community. Well, I mean, I'm glad you're going to change. I'm glad you're going to do something about it, but don't expect me to feel sorry for the backlash that you got.
Right. Right. And I had to really Ephesians 4:26, I had to really focus on that, be angry and sin not, because I was hot.
Mhm.
I was hot because, I'm so tired of people feeling like they can just say what they want to say, and it's not supposed to we're not supposed to be offended. We're not supposed to feel disrespectful. But anyway, let me read his apology. I want to sincerely apologize for hurting people with my foolish and ignorant comments yesterday. Okay. After listening to what I said and how it must have sounded to others, I was horrified.
It didn't sound like that to you when you were saying it? Because, I mean, let me just stop you right there just for 1 second. I know instantaneously when something comes out of my mouth the wrong way. I know. I mean, it comes out and I'm like, ooh, I shouldn't have said it. I shouldn't have said it that way. Let me clarify. Let me explain. Let me apologize. Let me clear that up. I know, actually, but here's my problem. You said before you said it, this is going to get me in trouble. So in your mind, when you
Exactly.
heard it in your own head, you knew it was wrong.
Right.
So why did you let it come out of your mouth? You weren't
Exactly.
horrified when you heard it in your head?
Exactly.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I 100% understand
Yeah.
why people
People.
are justifiably angry.
Mm.
I made a mistake, and it's hard to look myself in the mirror, but I want to acknowledge it. I apologize from the deepest depths of who I am. Okay, that's a problem because who we think the deepest depths of who you are right now.
And it,
And
the Bible says, out of one's heart, the mouth speaks. That's
I
all.
am writing this to address those who were hurt and those who don't know me.
Mm.
I'm not clear about exactly what the point of was, who's those who don't know me. I guess for those who don't listen to his show. I'm
Well,
gonna
no,
go with that.
well, no.
People that don't listen to his show, who don't, because I don't know who he is. I didn't know who he was till he called me a piece of burnt toast. I didn't know who he was.
Well, I don't. I took those who don't know me as um, those black people who aren't my friends and know I'm not a racist. That's how I
Oh,
took that one.
okay.
Yeah, because that's what a lot of them say. I'm not a racist. Okay, but what you just said was racist. But you're not a racist. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I am also writing to say, where do we go from here? How can I and others learn from this? Today, okay, this is my favorite part. Today I reached out to the local NAACP. My friends in the clergy from the African American community, I want to know how many of them you have that you thought it was okay for you to say this, as well as the mayor's office. The mayor is a black man, to seek their guidance and teaching.
But you didn't feel that in the last. Let's not even go back 4 years. Let's go back 12 months. In that whole 12 months, it was never important to you to seek out your black friends in the clergy, the NAACP, or the mayor to say, you know what, we've got a racial problem in this country. And I may have some bias that I don't even know about. So let's sit down and talk about. It never occurred to you in the last 12 months to do that.
Now the mayor had a press conference, and of course he said it was disrespectful, it was unacceptable, it was all these other things. Now, see, I want to know. I would like to know though. These people that he says he reached out to, I would love to know what their response was to him, because the first thing I would have said to him was, so I need to know what your I need to understand what your frame of mind was when you said it. I need to understand how you went ahead and said something that you prefaced with saying, I'm probably going to get in trouble for this. I need to know what was going through your head when you went ahead and said it anyway, because you had some kind of notion, some kind of inkling, some kind of something that this was going to be a problem. What you, so I need to know, why did you think it was okay for you to go ahead and say it?
Because probably he thought that there would be some backlash, but he didn't think it would cost him his jobs. I didn't think it was going to cause me that much trouble. So you thought, okay,
Comparing black
and
women to burnt toast, you didn't think was going to cause you a whole lot of backlash?
and I do want to say this, that you can never say that someone's apology is not sincere.
Really?
You Because you don't know. Maybe he is sincerely sorry that now he lost
He
his
said he
job.
lost his job.
You know, um, but it's just like anytime you do something wrong as a child, as a child of a parent, of a child of God, as a child, as an employee, you get your behind beat. It doesn't take away the fact that, and you can sit there and talk about how sorry you are, but you still have to suffer the consequences.
And see, my other thing is, but still, I sincerely apologize for hurting people. What people? He didn't say, I sincerely apologize to hurting black women.
That's true.
I sincerely apologize for hurting people. What people?
My family, because now I'm out of a job. I don't,
What people?
who are the people?
If you're going to apologize, if I owe you an apology and I come to you and say, I'm really sorry that I hurt your neighbor, that means nothing to you.
And maybe he's sorry to his coworkers at the radio station, or the radio station, because they lost endorsements. I don't know who the people are. And
Exactly. We don't.
so,
Who are the people you apologize for hurting? In his apology, never does he say, "I apologize to black women. I apologize to Serena Williams. I apologize to Gail King. I apologize to Halle Berry." He apologizes for hurting people. What people?
hopefully
If you issue an apology, it doesn't make sense for me to issue an apology to your neighbor and I have offended you. That's not an apology.
or just to say to a room in general, I apologize when I offended you specifically. But
Okay, then he wants to seek guidance and teaching.
but you haven't done this.
Here we go
You
with this
haven't done
again.
this
And I
yet.
don't know, maybe because I said this about the situation with Sharon Osbourne and Cheryl Underwood. Sharon Osbourne basically yelled, well, I don't know if she actually said she yelled at her, but educate me, educate me, educate. Why do we have to be the ones to educate you all the time about what you say and what you do? I mean,
So
you
my thing is, my standard is, if you wouldn't say it to a, well, I shouldn't say that, because some people are just rude. But if you would never compare white women to a piece of toast, why would you think it was okay to a piece of burnt toast? Why would you think it was okay to compare black women to a piece of burnt toast? But that's kind of a hard thing to say, because some people are just disrespectful of everybody. But
and I don't listen to his show. I don't know. Like I said, I didn't even know who he was. So
but come
until
on, I
this.
mean, really, and and so certain of them, and it's kind of like I read a saying the other day that says it's like me stabbing you and wanting you to, and wanting you to feel sorry for me that I got blood on me. Uh, no, I don't. You will reap the repercussions. And I do sincerely hope that he uses this as a teaching moment. I do sincerely hope he learns something. I do sincerely hope he realizes that he should have done this 12 months ago.
I ask for your forgiveness. Again, who are you asking for forgiveness? Who exactly are you asking for forgiveness? I ask you for your forgiveness and pledge to learn, to do better and increase my sensitivity and understanding. I want this to be the start of a learning process so we as a community, what community, can become better. Again, who are you asking forgiveness? To the people that you and sincerely, I want to sincerely apologize for hurting people. What people? Who are you asking for forgiveness? Because he never said, I apologize for offending Black women.
Mm-hmm. I apologize to the
Serena Williams, Gail King, and Halle Berry,
any
and
other.
all Black women. I apologize, first of all, for offending Serena, Gail, and Halle. And I want to also apologize to all Black women
Mm-hmm.
who I who are offended by what I say, not who might be offended, who are offended by what I said. Here I go. I'm getting hyped now. I'm getting
So, but it
okay.
is. It's exhausting. It's
It really
exhausting
is.
that people don't get it.
A-
It's
And
exhausting that after, and then you after the last 12. Let's just stick with the last 12 months. After the last 12 months, not only do you not get it, but then you seem shocked that I'm calling you out on it. And oh my God, did I say something wrong? Oh, now that I've listened to it, that wasn't really very nice. I'm tired of that. Why don't you get it straight the first? And the biggest problem I have is that you are on a big platform.
yes,
So, as someone on a big platform, you need to be seeking out guidance on how to treat people. I'm not on a big platform. I have, and so he supposedly has friends in the Black culture. I was in the military. I've met people from all over the world, all kind of different cultures. I had a question about something in the Indian culture. I didn't just go out and say what I wanted to say. I took one of those people aside and said, hey, look, can we sit down and have a talk? Because I'd like to understand. Can you explain to me what this is and what it means to you? And is it offensive if I do this or I do that or I say this or I say that? So you had some Black friends that you could have sat down with in the last 12 months and got some understanding of cultural sensitivity. And you chose not to do it.
I remember I worked with a young lady who was a Muslim, and we were pretty tight. We used to go out to lunch together and go shopping and stuff together. So I said to her one day, because I want to say this the right way. She wore a hijab, but she did not wear
Garment.
the full Muslim attire.
Right.
And so I said to her one day, I said, "Can I ask you a question?" And she said, "Yeah." So I said, "Why do you not wear the full Muslim garb?" And I said to her, um, because I thought that when Muslim women wore the whole garb and they covered their face, it was because they weren't married. And she said, "Who told you that?" I said, "Look, I don't know. This is why I'm asking because I don't know." She said, "Who told you?" I'm like, "Listen." I don't know where I got that from. I don't know who told me that, but she said, no. And she was nice about it because I was asking. I
Yeah,
was inquiring because I wanted to know and I wanted to understand.
that's it. And that's the whole thing.
And
You
she
know,
said it's modesty. It depends. It's a personal decision. This is what she said to me. It's a personal decision about modesty and how modest you want to be, and if you feel that full modesty is you being in total Muslim attire.
right.
So I said, "Oh, okay." But again, I didn't just blurt something out. I asked a question because I didn't have an understanding. But again, when you start comparing people to toast and burnt toast at that, that's not right.
No, because he said it before he did it. He knew it was not right.
Exactly.
But he should have also known that it's inappropriate and disgusting to basically say that because you're dark skinned, you're not pretty. Because that's basically what you're saying. You're saying
It's
you're
just
dark
people
skinned.
haven't, and the problem with it is that people think that's okay to say that.
But here's not only that, but with burnt toast, I may try to scrape off the black to get down to that pretty
Right.
brown before I eat it. So you're telling me if I if I get someone who's a color a dark toast, as you think, that's not okay because I need to scrape it off and get down to the mulatto. Really? That's how I heard what you said.
That's right. That dark, because most people that I'm aware of do not eat burnt toast. That I'm aware of.
No.
Now I know because you know me. I don't even when it comes to grilling and stuff like that, if it's burnt, I don't want it.
Well, some people do, but that's
Some
not.
people do. Some people like it burnt.
But
But most
you're
people,
not. But you're not saying that. I mean, the way he was saying it is that it's something that's not desirable.
right. No, I don't want that.
Because Gail King wasn't even on his toaster. Really?
And Serena's darker than Gail King.
That's going to show you what he knows. And you just have to be so. You have to be so careful. And like I say, they say that think means before you speak, you need to say, is it true?
Hmm.
Number one, is it helpful? Who does that help making those kind of comments? Is it inspiring? Who did that inspire? Is it necessary? It was totally unnecessary. Is it kind? No, it was not kind. So what made you think it was okay to come out your mouth?
I remember I read an article not too long ago where Queen Latifah said, "You're never too big to get checked."
There you
And
go.
she said on her show, she was interviewing Miss Cicely Tyson, and she said the producer put something up on the screen, and she said when she read it, she knew it wasn't right.
Mhm.
But she said, "I said it the way they said it," and she was asking her something about the cast of the trip to Bountiful,
Mhm.
and Queen Latifah said to Miss Tyson, "You guys, something, something." And she said, Miss Tyson looked at me and said, "I am not you guys."
No.
And she said, "You're never too big." She said, "I got checked by Cicely Tyson." Okay. And she said, when they put it up there, I knew it wasn't right. She said, when I read it, I knew it wasn't right. But I went ahead and I said it the way that it was up there. And she said, and I got checked.
And sometimes the check is a little bit bigger than the others, because she was lucky. She got checked right there and moved on. You got checked because you decided to insult and humiliate people
Right.
or attempt to humiliate people.
Right. Attempt to. So the last paragraph of his tired apology, please know my comments were ignorant,
Yeah, they were. I agree.
but not meant to be harmful.
Well, how's that possible?
Hurtful, excuse me, but not meant to be hurtful. But I know as many others need to learn from this. So the comments were ignorant, but not meant to be hurtful.
Well, that's a contradiction. Contradiction. If I say something ignorant to you, I don't think it's going to hurt your feelings. How is that possible that something said in ignorance is not hurtful? I
No,
don't.
not said in ignorance, ignorant.
Well, so that's true because there is a difference.
There is a
I
difference,
say something ignorant to you. I don't expect you to be offended by that.
but not meant to be hurtful.
Hmm. It was meant to be what?
I don't know because it certainly wasn't complimentary.
It wasn't. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what you could possibly think that it was meant to be.
This is a great opportunity to get communication started so that this mistake can heal and not divide.
There has been an opportunity for the last 12 months for you to start a conversation.
And him calling it a mistake, again, I go back to I know this is probably going to get me in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't a mistake.
Mm-mm.
You knew it was a problem with what you were going to say, and you said it anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it wasn't a mistake.
No, it was
It
not.
was intentional.
Mm-hmm.
You intentionally said it, even though you knew that you were probably going to have, it was probably going to cause you some trouble. But you went ahead and said it anyway. That's not a mistake.
No, it's not. Because that means that's premeditation. You thought about it. You said, you know what, this is not right. This is ignorant, but I'm going to say it anyway. And then you don't want the the backlash. You don't want the 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 consequences. And you want everybody to think that I'm really not that kind of person. Well, what kind of person am I supposed to think you are? And it's getting old. It's really getting old.
Really. And it really makes you want to holler. It really does. It makes you just want to scream. Just start screaming.
Mhm.
Like, come on. Seriously? So I will make every effort to use what I am learning as a platform. I'm not understanding what that means. I will make every effort to use what I am learning oh, I see, as a platform to better understand and hopefully help others while helping myself.
So my concern with that statement is that okay, well, I lost my job, so let me see if I can make some money being a platform to help other people cover up their ignorance. And I'm not saying, every punishment should have an end. And maybe if you really do, learn something, maybe, you can be reformed. But, you know, you have to pay your penance. And it's just really imperative that people of everybody needs to watch their language. And if something comes in your head and you know it's wrong, then don't let it come out your mouth.
Exactly.
Because to me, what that says is you have total disregard for the feelings and implications of what
Right.
you're going to say.
Right.
You have total disregard for Black women.
Exactly. And I said when I put out the title for this show makes me want to holler, no more tired apologies. If you're going to apologize, then be specific in your apology.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I apologize to Black women.
Mm-hmm.
These vague kind of apologies, I apologize for hurting people. These vague, tired, they're tired apologies.
But
And we're actually, we're tired of you know, this same thing, and you're not even being specific about what it is that you said, what it is that you did. You need to apologize to Black women.
and to me, that's almost like an added level of insult and disrespect.
It is. It is. And it's a tired apology.
It is. And
Yeah, okay, so you think because you came out and you issued an apology, but no, dude, it was a tired apology. This is tired. This isn't a real apology. Come on. I apologize to Black women. I apologize to Serena, Gail, and Hallie. I apologize for my hurtful comments that dismiss who you are as women. I apologize for perpetrating colorism and racism. How about being specific about your apology? How about that?
and I apologize for my total ignorance because it's not, that whole thing about I when you that when you go back to that, knowing it was wrong before it came out of your mouth, and then you go turn around and tell me it was ignorant, but I didn't mean it to be hurtful. Really? How about just ending it? It was ignorant, and I apologize for the hurt I caused Black women. Because guess what? Communication is a funny thing. If the communication has not occurred, if the message I intend to send doesn't get received the right way.
Right.
So you haven't communicated to me that you are truly understand the gravity of what you did.
No.
And you're expecting me to say, oh, he didn't mean to hurt my feelings. Well, you did. And you need to own it. And you need to fix it.
That's right. And you need to be specific in your apology as to who it was that you hurt.
That's it.
These blanket little apologies, if they're tired, and we're getting tired of hearing them. They're tired, and we're getting tired of hearing them.
That's it.
If you're going to apologize, come on, be a man, stand up and apologize the right way. I hurt Black women.
There you go. And it's just like I said before, it's just exhausting. The amount of disrespect we receive from every area of life. And it's really time that people start calling people on it. If
Exactly.
you have friends because there is a certain amount of ignorance. There's a difference between being ignorant and ignorance. And you have to also be careful when you have those friends that become so comfortable with you that they feel they can say certain things
Right.
that they can't say. So you need to check them on that so that they don't end up in this position.
That's right.
Because I'll never forget, I had a really great friend when I was in Newark, and she was a white lady, wonderful woman, sweet as she could be. And we used to have lunch together. And one day I showed up late for lunch, and she said to me, oh, you operating on CP time. I said, excuse me? So I proceeded to make that a teaching moment for her because I liked her, and I didn't want her to end up in this kind of position. So first I asked her if she knew what it meant, and she told me. And then I told her, you know what? You got to pass this time. I'm going to educate you. Don't you ever say that to another Black person again.
But again, it just comes back to, well, yeah, that does come with the familiarity.
Yeah, sometimes people get
Um,
so
they
familiar
get
with
real
you.
familiar and they think they can just say
They
anything
think
to
they
you.
can say, or they familiar with you. You allow them to say certain things in your presence, and then they go in a different set of company, people they don't know,
Right.
and you still feel it's okay to say those things.
Right.
And it's not. So help your friends out. Okay? Don't let them become so familiar that they can say things that are inappropriate, and they will get checked on
That's right.
in a different way, in a setting that people don't particularly don't know them to the extent that you do. There aren't
That's
cultures.
right. That's true. That is so true.
We have to be careful what we allow among ourselves and our friends.
Yeah. That is so true. So we're going to continue to have these conversations and to bring to light when colorism is being perpetrated on both sides.
Yeah.
And it is it is definitely for all of us to address it, to talk about it, and to really get to a place where they'll like I say again, sometimes you get tired and you feel like you shouldn't have to, after all this time, we shouldn't have to educate people, but
Mm,
apparently we still have to.
yeah.
So, we have to be
We have
letting
to.
people know that this is not acceptable. And it's apparent that, again, we as a community, we have such power in our dollars because advertisers started
Yeah.
pulling out of, pulling their dollars out of that radio station. Okay, because they knew that this was the black community is not going to be feeling this.
And it's
And
already
so
here.
when we really get to understand about the power of our dollar, and that if you are saying things and you're doing things that are not in alignment with what we as a people, we as a community are going to tolerate, we are not going to patronize you.
That's it. And the money people are beginning to understand that
Oh yeah.
because they're like, look, we can't. And so he did lose what another. He lost some kind of announcing jobs outside the radio station because they were like, we don't want to be associated with that.
No. No.
So
Thank you so much for this conversation. I apologize for the technical issues. I apologize to you and to our audience for the technical issues, but we were determined
yeah,
to have this show today and to be able to have this conversation now. We will not have a show next week. It is Easter Sunday, Resurrection Day, and we will be acknowledging Resurrection Day. So there'll be no colorism conversations next week, but join us again on April the 11th. We'll be back. It's already getting to April. Can you believe it?
yeah,
We are getting into April, the second quarter of the year, and we have some amazing things coming up for April, which we'll be talking to you about all throughout the week. So you guys have a blessed, blessed, blessed night.